Yo, what's up, demons and demonettes? Tis I, Atraxi, a demon queen, and today we're talking about Arena. But before we get into it, as always, toss a like and subscribe down below. So we're gonna talk about defense today. I'm gonna give you my updated defense because last time I provided a defense that used Damien that was pretty solid. You could sub in your Ludovic for Damien and it made it even better. However, Brownie managed to crack both of those defenses, making them not really so viable for me. I have a new defense that's pretty decent. And then we're going to talk about the melancholy of defense. Okay, so let's talk about the current team. One change we're going to make to see if that helps us out. So as you can see, it doesn't have the world's greatest defensive rate, but I did manage to pick up one win. That's compared to some of the other versions. As you can see here, we got 2 wins. So yeah, maybe it has a 10% win rate or less, which isn't too bad, I guess, on defense these days, considering everything is counter comp. As you can see, we had a better win rate here, but Brownie was just testing out some different teams, so we can't really kind of count that because he's not using this team here, right? Which is the Harak, Leica, Dunn, Hugin, and Lily May. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at it and check it out. All right. So as you can see, I'm actually switching my Dunlinging over to Cure Lock. I was running Spell Lock to protect against Aaron, but I found that the Ludovic Kalen comp does a pretty good job against protecting against Aaron, at least in Supreme Arena. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna switch it to Cure Lock. That's gonna prevent Brownie from running his Dun Cure Lock against us and hopefully give us the edge that we need, and that the Kalen Shield and a Ludovic Heal are enough to get us through that initial Aaron Almas combo so that we can get our team rolling. So what are we doing here? We have Dunlinger, Cryonaya, Siren, Kalen, and Ludovic. We have a Siren and Cryo up in the front. These 3 tiles here in the front are what I call the safe zone. Why do I call this the safe zone? Because they can't be targeted here. Normally, depending on the map, you know, you've got to worry about your Sylvenas. You've got to worry about Bonnie. You've got to worry about Vala. You've got to worry about Siren, right? They all kind of target the certain heroes or the rearmost hero. I have found that Ludovic is probably the best hero overall to eat Bonnie's aging magic just because of the initial burst heal that he gets off from his own flowers and just everything going on. He's actually very tanky for that aging arrow, and that can prevent some of the spread from going on, which is very nice. So he's very, very good at doing that. I tried out Freyasto. He wasn't as good. Freyasto doesn't work on this map, so we're not running him here. We're using a Kalen for his big defensive buff. Now, my Kalen is only Paragon 3. I'm hoping to get him to Paragon soon. Just because he's really, really strong. I found that once I pushed him to Paragon 3, he was a very, very solid unit, especially at the higher end here on PvE, even just with testing him against other people. With bigger accounts, you know, not just Brownie, but like, Himmel and Mr. City. We got, you name him, I've tested him against him. He is amazing. Alright. So that's the logic here. Oh, we're also running confining. The days of insight are kind of dead. And insight is, or I always call it insight, but actually it's a lightning spell. And we're not gonna run that because that's pretty much done and over with. The reason why that's done and over with is you have Bonnie that targets your heroes, and now we have a Siren that targets the rear hero, and it eliminates the insight buff for the first 8 seconds of battle. Considering that most fights go between, I would say, 17 to 12 seconds, 12 seconds probably being about the average length of the fight, we'll say that a Siren negates the bonus from the artifact anywhere from 2/3 of the fight to half of the fight, which is a very significant amount. He could also kill the insight hero that they desire to get the insight on before that even goes off, so it's just gonna go on some random hero that's not really going to help them. So the days of running in Enlightening are over. So we go to confining is what we're going to rely on. I tested out blazing, it doesn't work. I tested out iron wall, it doesn't work. Right, so we're just gonna run confining just to get the extra control. And if they have a Siren, so be it. We still can get the extra control after, you know, a few seconds pass off. Now, the idea with this unit, again, is it's going to have that dual win trigger with a Siren and Cryonaya's ult. So hopefully this actually works out a bit better for us than running the spell lock, but you could definitely try both versions on your account. So then we're going to talk a little bit about why it's so hard to defend. And the issue why it's so hard to defend is just because there's more heroes out there on the offense than for defense. There's just too many things we have to account for, right? We have 4 different heroes we have to account for that can target or positional target. That's very, very annoying to have to deal with. Then you have to worry about the Dunlingers of the world that can either order alt, or they can, you know, put the cure lock on, and then they can really mess up your support heroes. Unless you run your own Dunlinger, then you're kind of like vulnerable to that. So it's a little rough on all ends there. And then you can't not run a support on defense, I feel like, just because then you leave yourself very, very vulnerable to attack. And then you also have to worry about the Aaron Almas combo, which is very, very nasty, right? So those are kind of like the big things you have to worry about. Then you have other heroes in there that are going to have to be a pain to deal with, like Dianel. Even though he's dropped off a bit, he's still something you have to worry about. Harak, Cryonaya, those are all very, very strong PvP units. Then you have like the Bonnie, Taline, Atassi, a combo that people can run on offense, because a lot of people aren't going to run Aaron on defense. To kind of like counteract some of what goes on there. So again, that's another very solid team that you have to worry about. There's just too many things to have to account for. And I even got Brownie with it, because Brownie's been trying out different defenses as of late. And, you know, he keeps varying them, and we just go in, we attack them. And we're pretty much to the point where I can just one-shot most of his defenses these days. He doesn't vary them up. So, you know, you can use the same heroes, but when you use the same heroes on defense, when you're trying to vary your defense, it is going to hurt you, because it's going to make it a little bit easier to kind of counter them using similar comps. But then again, you kind of can't deviate too far from what you may normally do based on like Paragon level or just strength of the team, and you're kind of like limited in what you can use on defense, because you just have so many things you have to counter on offense. So it's just really sucks. But we have like the Paragon advantage. That helps a little bit. The issue is that it's only going to help against lower Paragon leveled units, right? So if you have someone, you know, if you're the only Kraken in your district or on your server, and you have all your P4 heroes or a mix of P4, P3, you're probably going to be set, right? Because the only other person that can touch me is Brownie, who has primarily all P4 or P3 on his attack heroes, and you can usually sneak in one Paragon 2 hero in there in the mix if everyone else is Paragon 4, or a mix of Paragon 3, maybe like maybe like 3 Paragon 4, 1 Paragon 3, 1 Paragon 2. You can kind of get away with something like that, or like 2 Paragon 4, 2 Paragon 3, 1 Paragon 2. You can kind of get away with attacking Paragon 4 because comp is ultimately king. But like, see here, we have another defense against someone who has a lesser count, right? So we don't have to worry about that. That's what the new stats took care of. They did allow like the Paragon 2, S plus Paragon 2 teams to hit you on your defense. As you can see, our only losses are coming from Brownie. Nobody else is going to be even close, right? And even here, we had a solid defense. This is where I initially dropped the new defense. But we could talk about it like, so you got Brownie's, say his defense where he uses a Dunlinger, like Hugin, Lily May, and Harak. So he's trying out the same defense that he used on offense against me in a way, but we easily beat that, right? Because we can then slot in our Lily May. We can drop our Dunlinger because we don't essentially need him here, even though I believe he is, right, he's running a Cure Lock on his Dunlinger here. And then he's running Lily May to kind of counter any Aaron stuff, so we can't use Aaron Omis here. But then we just ignore Dunlinger's effect because we're just going to use our Freyasto to stall in this case, and then between Cryonaya and Siren, because they, like I said, they work well with Dunlinger when Dunlinger has Spell Lock on, so they work well against Dunlinger if Dunlinger has Spell Lock on. I think here, like I said, he's using Pure Lock, so that's going to give us even bigger advantage, and then all we have to do is burn down and kill that Dunlinger quick enough that he doesn't prevent our Ludovic from doing what Ludovic does, right? So we can just kind of like show this off. As you can see, it's very quick. So we don't lose any heroes here. Oh, we get our Cryonaya all off. Our Ludovic is then able to heal everybody back up. So basically what happens is our Freyasto, again, does a very good job of holding the line long enough for us to kill off Dunlinger, so that any of our other heroes can get their heals back up, and then we're fine. We have the dual win trigger there. It's just that Cryonaya is just so deadly that when she ults, she's pretty much going to kill off 2 to 3 heroes the first time, and then if she ults a second time, she's going to kill them off. Or, you know, if for some reason, like you saw, Hugin managed to survive both of those ults, then our, you know, we just beat him down, and then Siren just finishes him off. So it's kind of like that dual execute win condition, right? And we cracked his defense. He's had a couple other differentiations on that defense, but again, we cracked it using very similar teams. This is where you know, he had Bonnie in here. We used almost essentially, yeah, we used essentially the same team, right? And it yields the same result. So it goes very, very quick. See, we kill off the Dunlinger quick enough. We don't even really need Cryonaya's ult here. And this one, it just goes so fast. I think he was actually running Spell Lock there, so it didn't matter. But you could see, like, even on attack here, we just shredded this team. He was Freyasto here. We beat it, you know. So it's like, even when you put your variations in, you're gonna be vulnerable. It all just depends what your opponents have, and you have, see, we're running Bonnie here, but Bonnie was really ineffective on the team. I think she actually dies pretty early, but we'll check it out. Yep, see, she dies pretty early there. So it's really Cryonaya and Siren that are the deadly combo here, right? Because we're using Siren to cancel out the artifact and do a little bit of CC. So as you can see, defense is very difficult in Arena. They really need to do something to help out defenders. I'd like to see some changes. Maybe, you know, something like where we have banned heroes. Or like something like in battle drills where you have the stamina. Maybe heroes have limited stamina, so you can only use heroes X amount of times on offense per a reset. Now, obviously, it's only going to affect certain people because, again, at the higher end, if everybody has P4, you don't really have that Paragon advantage. If they have a mix of P4, P3, and you have all P4, you don't really have that Paragon advantage because everything is counter comp. So it's very difficult. So we usually have to change defenses, you know, like I said, maybe every day, maybe twice a day, but eventually, you know, you just get burned out on ideas, and it just really sucks. So if I ever come up with some decent defenses, I'll try to put out more videos, defensive related, at least teams that have a decent shot at winning. I think that Dunlinger comp that I have going right now is pretty strong. It seems to be working a bit better than the Ludovic Damian comp. Again, any defense for me that can hold up for 2 resets or more seems to be very solid. And that's going to be it for this one. Good luck, Arena, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!